Cable Bahamas has always been considered the innovator.
People can have confidence in Cable Bahamas as a mobile operator because of our past history. We've proven to the Bahamian community that we are in fact able to manage additional services as a telecommunications company.
Customers expect the best from Cable Bahamas.
The technology that we bring is revolutionary technology because we know that the Bahamian public, they deserve it, and Cable Bahamas is here to bring it to them.
We are ready. Turn us on.
The police chief submits the Alfred Gray case file to the AG. Legal action to be taken against Rubis. This as the DNA calls for the AG's resignation over that withheld report. Another man murdered in New Providence. Plus, the Singing Prophets Facebook video goes viral. We've got those stories and a whole lot more tonight. I'm Voni Toot and NB12 starts now. Tonight, Commissioner of Police Allison Greenslade says police have completed their investigation into V. Alfred Gray judicial interference allegations, submitted the case file to the Attorney General for her review, and await her decision on whether charges should be filed. Greenslade said today, I sent the complete case file for Minister Alfred Gray under cover letter directly to the Attorney General just around 3 p.m. yesterday. Prime Minister Perry Christie revealed on March 25th that police launched an investigation into the allegation that Gray interfered in a judicial matter. Gray is accused of ordering Mayagwana Administrator Zephaniah Newbold to release 19-year-old Jaquan Charlton after he was convicted of resisting arrest, obscene language, disorderly behavior, and assaulting a police officer. Greenslade said, as requested by the Attorney General, we conducted the investigation, saw all witnesses and took statements and reports. Consistent with the Attorney General's request, the case file was sent to her for review and a decision as to charges or otherwise. The commissioner told NB12 police interviewed 11 witnesses and received documents from the judiciary. When pressed on whether police recommended that charges be filed in the matter, Greenslade would only say, we received a formal memo from the AG's office to initiate this investigation. We followed the guidance given in that memo. The case file is now with the Honorable Attorney General, and we will await her decision. Gray has said he is confident he will be vindicated and he will have the last say on the matter. Amid a growing firestorm over the delayed release of a report on the Rubis fuel leak, a top environmental attorney says there are several grounds for Robinson Road residents to take legal action against Rubis. He also blasted government for its decision to withhold that Black and Veatch report. Kyle Joaquin has the latest.
When will it be our turn, right? Not because we're not members of this clique or that clique. When will it be our turn? When will we get a true chance at living the Bahamian dream?
That's a question environmental attorney Romal Ferreira has for the government after it withheld the findings of a Black and Veatch report into that Rubis gas spill which occurred in 2012. The report concluded that nearby residents and some in commercial buildings may have been exposed to harmful chemicals in groundwater and the air. However, it took government over a year to release the findings of that report, which Ferreira says is unacceptable, at least not when Bahamian lives are at risk. The area representative for those residents, Jerome Fitzgerald, has already encouraged them to file lawsuits against Rubis. However, Ferreira says although there are several grounds for residents to sue Rubis, government is not to be left out.
Under those kinds of circumstances, the residents have causes of action in negligence, in Rylands-Fletcher, in nuisance, and they can launch an action in administrative law, which is simply a judicial review questioning the rationale, which is really basically saying, if you know these things are happening, why would you expose your people to poison?
He said the judicial review would make it possible for there to be an investigation into how the government could license the Robinson Road service station, given the benzene levels detected of over 9,000 micrograms per liter. Benzene is a known contributor of cancer, and that amount, he said, was well beyond acceptable levels. But despite not even having issued a certificate of approval, the service station, after being closed following the spill, was allowed to open last year.
Because you'll be calling on them to answer us and say, what is your rationale? What are the processes by which did you get all the permits? Did you do all the stuff? See, that calls into the question the decision-making processes and rationale behind actually issuing the license to open, given the information that you knew.
At that town meeting last week, Ferreira was one of the most vocal attendees. Meanwhile, both Environment Minister Kendra Dorset and Marathon MP Jerome Fitzgerald didn't say anything at all. Now, Rubis has not yet released an official statement on the entire ordeal. We asked Ferreira what he thought about their silence on the matter. He said that's okay for now, but he said eventually they will have to answer. Rubis' managing director, we're told, is out of office, but Ferreira believes that with the findings of the report now out, they should have said something. Here's what he said motorists should consider.
So I would suggest the Bahamian people take note of that next time that they go to buy gasoline.
Ferreira did say, though, that there are several questionable aspects of the government's handling of the ordeal. He believes all this is happening for the truth to come out. But here's what Ferreira says is most alarming to him.
At the town meeting, the doctor responsible for determining this, he's talking about they still have to develop processes. They've known this information for over 2 years. I want you to consider that you collect oil and you put it in a bag and you ship it away. You can't do that with blood, right? You spend millions of dollars defending Bimini, and you can't do that with these people when it doesn't even concern you. When the Court of Appeal says, why are you here? Bimini and Black Bear's Key. You spend millions of dollars doing that, and boom, you can't take these people's blood. Don't they count?
At that town meeting, Chief Medical Officer DeLon Brennan said no tests were administered because the Ministry of Health did not have the technical capacity to administer them. Reporting for NB12, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
Well, the Democratic National Alliance also blasting government today for withholding that report. Jasmine Brown has that angle.
Members of the DNA today blasting the Christie administration for what they call catastrophically failing members of the Marathon constituency.
We are here this morning because we are very, very disturbed over the fact of persons' lives are at stake here. This is not so much about politics, this is about humanity.
And that's how the DNA Vice Chair Marsha Thompson says the party sees the matter. During a press conference held at Rubis's Marathon Road Station, DNA Deputy Leader Chris Mortimer called the delayed release of the environmental study an indication of the late-again style of governance perpetuated by the Christie administration. Mortimer says the PLP government seems to be unable or simply unwilling to take swift action on matters of national importance. In this instance, he says the government has dragged its feet at the risk of residents' well-being.
It is not right. It is unconscionable.
Even more distressing, they say, are the actions of Attorney General Allison Maynard Gibson, Area MP and Minister of Education Jerome Fitzgerald, and Environment Minister Kendra Dorset.
This is disheartening, and I think this should really. I think we're calling for the resignation of not only the environmental minister, but also the minister for Marathon.
It is time for us to take our destiny into our own hands and hold present and future governments accountable.
Meantime, Mortimer is asking the government to go a step further. He says given the government's less than stellar track record when it comes to handling the environmental issues, policies need to be put in place for future incidents.
From our standpoint, we want the government to put in place policies. One, so that as these reports come out, we want them within 30 days to be made available to the Bahamian public. Two, when these spills happen, we want a financial component to be added so that people can know what they can get when these things happen.
Reporting for NB12, I'm Jasmine Brown.
From the crime beat, 2 men were shot as they were fixing a car on Ida Street yesterday, leaving one of them dead and the other in hospital. Head of the Central Detective Unit, Chief Superintendent Paul Roll, said it all unfolded around 4:30 p.m. Monday when a gunman approached the 2 men and opened fire.
One of the victims who was struck to the hand ran to the next corner to seek assistance. The second male was shot multiple times to the body.
EMS personnel pronounced one of the men dead at the scene. The other, who was shot in the hand, was transported to hospital where he's said to be in stable condition. Distraught family members tried to get near the victim's body, but police turned them away. That was the second murder reported on Monday, just hours before the Ida Street and Balfour Avenue murder. A man's body was found near the Blue Hills Sporting Complex. He has been identified as 24-year-old Duval Watkins of Yellow Elder Gardens. Police are appealing to members of the public with any information on this latest killing to come forward.
We are appealing to persons who may have information in regards to this latest homicide to reach out to us and help us to advance this investigation here this afternoon.
When NB12 returns, a look at Carnival's economic impact on Grand Bahama, so stay tuned.